e kryetarëve të komunave në zyrat e tyre komunale me forca speciale, por edhe në çështjen e dinarit janë konsideruar si vendime që nxisin tensionin. Për këtë arsye, tash në një kohë Kosova është nën masat e Bashkimit Evropian për, siç thuhet, nxitje tensionësh e mosmarrje masash ose veprimesh që e depërshkallëzojnë situatën. Për gjitha këto, por edhe çështje të tjera në raportet Kosovë-Bashkimi Evropian, do të flasim sot në një intervistë me ambasadorin e BE-s në Kosovë, zotin Thomas Cuniuk. Mr. Ambassador, welcome.
Thank you for the invitation. Happy to be with you and your viewers.
Thank you. Well, let's start the interview with the latest issue, these days issue. There's a big debate, tensions about the decision of Central Bank of Kosovo regarding the Serbian dinar. How did you see this decision? What's your opinion on this?
Well, I think that it's important to say that this regulation of the Central Bank of Kosovo was actually agreed only on 27th of December last year and published on 17th of January this year, coming into force on 1st of February. I would like to say that actually 90% of the text is actually something which we like, also because it adjusts Kosovo systems to the European standards, European acquis, and requirements which are specifically related to anti-money laundering, fight against financing of terrorism, and other issues which are required by EU. However, there is this 10% which relates to other currencies than euro, and also licensing of financial institutions, which we do have certain questions. Mm-hmm. I would argue that regulation like this, if you take it as an abstract in other countries, probably would not cause any major issues, probably would not be even noted.
Why is it an issue in Kosovo?
But the issue in Kosovo is that in Kosovo, the realities on the ground are different. You can go 10 kilometers from Pristina to Gračanica, and you would see there is other currency in circulation, in cash, financial shops, others. So there is a certain reality here which is different. And I think that by taking this decision and by making it so quickly, this regulation and the whole system has not taken into account the realities on the ground. We are actually not questioning the independence of the Central Bank of Kosovo. We are not questioning the authority of the Central Bank of Kosovo to adopt a regulation like this. We are only questioning the fact that there were 14 days to prepare for it.
Short period of time.
And within those 14 days, there was no effective communication campaigns. There were no issues. There were no kind of measures to prepare the population. Again, there are different figures and numbers, but at least what we know from the Serbian side, there are 90,000 individuals who benefit from some kind of payments in dinars. Mm-hmm. The majority of them taking those payments in cash. So again, it's 90,000 individual benefits. Even though the government is claiming that there is a substantial number of Kosovo Serbs or other beneficiaries who have accounts in Kosovo banks, still, we are talking about thousands of people. Like example, if you are 70 years old, you are a pensioner in the Serbian majority community, you have been used to take your pension by going to the post office and taking in the cash, in dinars. Suddenly, you have 2 weeks to change this practice. And again, you are 70 years old or 75, you probably don't have the bank account, or if you have, where this money is coming from. So again, there are two major issues here, I believe. One is that, again, we are talking about thousands of people who are being affected. We are also talking about schools and hospitals. There are Serbian schools and hospitals in Kosovo funded by Serbia. And I'm not really sure where this was taken into account when deciding to publish that, the regulation on 17th of January, saying it is valid as of 1st of February. But the second thing is also that the Kosovo side is saying, okay, this is not an issue, it's easily solved by transferring the money through electronically to bank accounts. But this has not been discussed with Serbia at all.
It should have been discussed with Serbia because, as EU spokesperson stated, it is a unilateral act. So it should have been coordinated in the process of dialogue with Serbia or in the international community?
It is Serbia who is providing those payments. So you need to, you know, if I employ you and give you the salary in cash, in dinars, let's say, and you come to me and say, you know, I want this to be received on the bank account in euros, you know, probably you need to talk to me before. So again, it's something which would be, you know, good to talk about with Serbia, ideally in the framework of the dialogue or any other framework before it came into force. I appreciate that the government and the Central Bank of Kosovo are saying we would be talking to Serbian side, but again, this was the regulation is in force from February 1st. And my understanding is the governor of the Central Bank announced last Tuesday, which is February 6th, that he sent a letter to governor of National Bank of Serbia 5 days after this is in force.
There's some people saying that this is an internal issue of Kosovo. Why should we discuss it with Serbia? Isn't it like this?
Again, it is. You know, Serbia is or has been providing 90,000 benefits to people in Kosovo. So it's not only the issue of Serbia, it's also issue of Kosovo Serbs living in Kosovo. So it's an issue. And again, I'm not sure whether it's 90,000 is a real figure, or whether this 90,000 also includes some people who takes two benefits, like pensions and others. But the reality is that there are kind of thousands of people who receive certain benefits in certain ways, or has been receiving certain benefits in certain ways. So it is about the people living here in Kosovo. And so that's one thing. But again, second thing, if you believe, and maybe rightly so, the system needs to develop and needs to move from cash transfers to electronic transfers or banking transfers. There need to be some kind of understanding that someone is sending the money this way or that way. And this again has been done in a way which it's difficult to adjust the system. And again, the system has not still been adjusted. It still would require some time. I appreciate that the Prime Minister is now speaking about
transition
this month, let's say, as he put on Facebook. But again, my understanding is that when euro was adopted in EU member states as a new currency, the member states were given 12 months with two parallel currencies being in operation for 12 months to kind of make this transition smooth. And again, so this requires careful planning, careful preparation, careful mapping of the situation, and again, careful transition where people would be comfortable on making those changes. And I do not believe that those 2 weeks, which were between the announcement of this and the adoption, were kind of enough. So what we are, again, I would like to underline one important issue. We are not questioning the central bank authority or the regulation itself. We are just asking for longer and more kind of substantiated transition period, and also some kind of substantial communication campaign. I mean, when the visa liberalization was agreed to come into force on January 1st, we, as well as the government, actually started the information and communication campaign in September, 4 months before, saying, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that, actually traveling in all municipalities of Kosovo between September and December. So I would argue that a communication information campaign of several months would help for those citizens of Kosovo who are affected to feel more comfortable.
You're asking, they say that there's a pressure towards Prime Minister Kurti. He said that this is an independent institution decision. Some people see it more a political decision than from the central bank. How do you see it? The decision was made in the government or in the central bank?
No, again, I believe that the Central Bank of Kosovo is an independent institution. Again, it's also EU principle to keep central banks an independent institution. It was done by the board of the bank on the 27th of December as the decision of independent institution.
EU has also reacted regarding those parallel institution closing offices in some municipalities in Kosovo. Why isn't it? Do you think that there should be those kind of parallel institution in Kosovo?
Again, we believe that the system should evolve. But again, we are starting with certain realities who are there and who has been there since 1999. Those institutions has been there since 1999. There has been some agreement, particularly the one from 2013, which actually adjusted some of that. But they are still, again, reality of Kosovo is there are still Serbian schools, Serbian hospitals in Kosovo. Thousands of people who are dependent on salaries, social benefits and pensions from Serbia. So again, we believe the system should be modified, evolved, but we also believe that this should have been done in the dialogue format. We also believe that actually all those issues should have been solved through the creation of association of the Serbian majority municipalities. If the association is there, it would actually and I should underline, association as a Kosovo institution. This would formalize.
When you underline association as a Kosovo institution,
yes. Established according to Kosovo laws and following Kosovo laws, including the laws on funding. So if this is done as a Kosovo institutions, this would formalize and made majority of all of those institutions basically part of the Kosovo system, including the funding of the system, including financial transfers, because you would not have the funding through individual institutions like hospitals, schools, other institutions, but through the budget of this association as a Kosovo institution. So I think that if, again, we were in the situation with the association in existence, the majority of the issues we have been talking these days would simply not be there, would be solved.
When we're talking about the association, you're mentioning as a Kosovo institution, but a lot of people in Kosovo has the idea that there was maybe this would be a Kosovo institution with a lot of influence by Serbia, and Serbia would use it to destabilize Kosovo, or later on the idea of the partition of Kosovo.
Again, our understanding is, and this is our also proposal of European Union, of the Statute of Association, it will be fully Kosovo institutions, subject to Kosovo legislation, accounting, auditing, and other things. So I believe that there are sufficient number of tools, legal and others, to actually control this. Obviously, and again, we are talking about association of Serbian majority municipalities. So obviously there would be, this would be an institution where for not only, but in majority Kosovo Serbs. So it is obvious that there should be a role for Serbia to play.
There should be a role for Serbia to play.
Again, in a sense of the Serbia would, and this is actually assumption already from 2013, Serbia would be able to fund the sum. Obviously, there would be a role for cultural projects, cultural issues, other issues. Again, this is something which is also based on the European practices. We have a number of arrangements for non-majority communities in the EU, where basically the neighboring countries do have some understanding or agreements how to do it together.
Ambassador, in this situation of not implementing the agreement on the Association of Serbian Municipality Majorities, the problem with Serbian currency, dinar, in the north, in the other municipalities, there is a concern that this might raise tensions. Do you see any indication that we might have another Banjska case in this situation?
Well, for the time being, and I have discussed the issues also with ULEX this morning, we do not see a specific issue there. But I would, and again, we do not have any information or indication about any specific danger similar to Banjska. But obviously, if we sense and we do have information about increased uncertainty, about increased questions, nervousness among people who are affected by this decision on the currency, but also by general kind of lack of progress on implementing the previous agreements, lack of progress on implementing the agreement from 27 February and Ohrid Annex. And there is a general sense of standstill in the process, and this is certainly not healthy.
Since we're talking about Banjska, we haven't had a report from an EU institution or an EU member state regarding Banjska, except the progress report of 2023, when they consider it as a smuggling group attacking police forces in Kosovo. Why is it like this? Why or should we have a report? Do we expect to have a report from EU on the case?
Well, the EU has not been really investigating this independently. There are member states who obviously have some information, but EU as such has not been kind of investigating independently. ULEX has no kind of authority to have those independent investigations since 2018. It has no executive powers in this area. We have received, I believe last October, initial report from Kosovo authorities, police. We have other information, so we are making our assessment. But this is you should not expect some kind of EU report. By the way, on the annual reports, obviously we have taken note of this. We will certainly report on those issues also in the this year report, since we basically formally report from June 23 to June 24. And we would certainly make this reference to this case, but again, it's not up for you to prepare the reports or independent reports.
Regarding this case, EU has condemned what happened in Banjska, but there's an idea here in Kosovo, even citizens, institutions, that the European Union has not been enough harsh on Serbia, because people think that, or there are some facts that Serbia organized the attack, and not being like that, not being harsh about the case, they say that it encourages other similar cases. Should EU be more specific, more hard on this, more pressure on Serbia not to do these kind of attacks?
Well, I would say two things on that. First, I think, again, you mentioned that our statements, I believe, were very clear and from all the leaders of the EU institutions. We have also made very clear in December last year in our Council conclusions adopted in December 12, on December 12, on the enlargement, that we expect full investigations of this case from Serbia, and also the punishment of all perpetrators who kind of committed this terrible attack. At the same time, I'm not here to comment on the EU policies to Serbia, not being paid for that. Again, it's up to member states and institutions to make those decisions, but I believe we have been very clear what we are expecting from Serbia to do.
On the other hand, Kosovo is under EU measures for escalating the situation in the northern part of Kosovo, and institutions in Kosovo, representatives of different institutions, maybe even prime minister or different ministers, has underlined that this is not being harsh on Serbia, being or being soft and being hard in Kosovo for Kosovo. We feel some double standards being used here. We are under measures, Serbia, nothing in this situation.
Well, I would like to underline that the measures were taken in June last year, based on our assessment of this very unfortunate incident of 29th of May. So it was specifically
the municipalities.
In the municipalities, an attack on KFOR soldiers, and what preceded before that, which was basically a forceful takeover of municipal buildings by Kosovo police on 26th of May. So we, and by we, I mean 27 member states, agreed on the specific text of the 3rd of June with specific requirements. By the way, there were specific requirements for Serbia and Kosovo. We waited for 4 weeks, basically, and expecting Kosovo to fulfill those requirements. Unfortunately, there was no reaction. So at the end of June, after 4 weeks from the 3rd of June, we decided to introduce the measures. Again, we appreciate that there were certain steps taken by Kosovo after 29th of June, and there were some steps, let's say, in relation to police presence in the municipal buildings. Obviously, there is also this administrative instruction for petition recall vote. There are some other steps. But again, the member states discussed the issue on December 12th in the format of EU Council and agreed on the text, which is very clear, which says we are ready to remove the measures, but we expect Kosovo to do more.
So it needs to do yes, more.
Yeah. And basically, there are three areas where we expect more progress. One is de-escalation, police presence in and around municipal buildings. The second issue, mayors, early elections. We after April last year, early municipal elections, the EU issued statement saying those elections were administered well, but because of the low participation of voters, we do not believe they present a long-term solution to the issues. We are looking for a long-term solution, which means we will see what the CC decides on the petition, but if petitions are fulfilling this requirement of 20%, we believe there should be very quick recall vote organized, or resignation of the 4 mayors and new elections of mayors. Final thing, again, the third issue, which is there, is real and substantial engagement of Kosovo in the dialogue and fulfilling the agreement from 27 February and 18 March Ohrid Annex.
Kosovo institutions are saying, well, we would move on implementing the agreements, but let me ask you like this. How do you see the Serbian Prime Minister letter Ana Brnabić sent to the EU institution that they are not going to implement the agreements? On the other hand, we don't see much pressure on Serbia to implement the agreements. We see pressure in Kosovo, specifically with the association and other agreements.
Well, I would say, first of all, we believe this agreement was basically made legal and binding by declaration of the High Representative of 18 March. So we believe it is legal binding for both sides, regardless of whether it's signed or not. We do not believe actually signature is necessary. So that's the first thing. The second thing, again, in December, there was a debate also about this, and the language agreed by 27 member states is very clear. It's basically saying that we regret that both sides are not implementing the agreement. And again, this is our assessment. And this relates also to the letter from the Prime Minister of Serbia, which again is a signature or sign that Serbia is not implementing the agreement as it was negotiated.
And you mentioned the signature, so it's not needed. The Prime Minister of Kosovo is asking for a signature as a guarantee that the agreements are going to be implemented.
Again, our position is it is legally binding as it is.
Do you have any, well, we have a situation like we do have, both sides are not moving on. There's no implementation of agreements. Do you have any hope on the normalization happening in the near future?
Well, I would certainly be hoping that both sides would understand that the implementation of the agreement and normalization is actually important, and it's not important long term, but it's important now. Also because of two facts which are quite, I think, important for the EU. One is that we have decided, and again, if you read the Council conclusion from December, but also declaration of the European Council from December of last year, and the conclusions of the EU Western Balkan Summit also from December, now European Union has decided to put enlargement as a priority again. It has been quite serious about enlargement, and it is now a priority for EU. I believe it will be the priority for EU not only this year, but also in the next mandate of the next European Parliament, European Commission. We have made historical decisions related to Ukraine, Moldova and Georgia, offering them not only the clear European perspective, but also enlargement opportunities. So we now have a strategic shift, in a sense. Before, it was basically 6 Western Balkan countries and Turkey. Now we have Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, Western Balkan. So suddenly there is a new geopolitical and geostrategic kind of situation. Of course, we can also argue this was caused by aggression of Russia against Ukraine, but this is the strategic and geopolitical reaction of EU to this new geopolitical situation. This is an opportunity. This is the opportunity both Kosovo and Serbia should kind of take. The train is moving, and this is the opportunity to jump in. The second issue is,
the sides are not understand the momentum that the train is moving, and we should jump in.
Again, let's hope they do understand this, and they don't look for the tactical moves for tomorrow or next week, but they look for strategic kind of moves, which would get both Kosovo and Serbia into EU in a kind of relatively short period of time. The second issue is, and again it's very important, we have decided, let's put it this way, the European Commission proposes, and now there is a decision-making process going on in the Council, but also in the European Parliament, to create a new facility for Western Balkans and financial assistance for Western Balkans. And again, if you look, it was actually approved already by European Council to allocate those 6 billion euro for Western Balkans. If you look at this size of the financial envelope we are talking about, it basically means doubling the financial resources available. It also does a very strategic decision of saying we would open the EU market for you if you do certain reforms, and if you do a real common regional market in the region, we would allow you to access the market of 450 million consumers in the European Union. And again, this is basically, again, doubling our kind of involvement here. And again, this is big, but this is also conditional.
This is conditional, right?
And there would be conditions related to reforms, related to issues which will be challenging and strategic. But again, this is another opportunity why Kosovo and Serbia should move now, or should have moved yesterday.
Yeah, and they're not. And let me mention a late statement of the spokesperson Peter Stano that said that Kosovo and Serbia won't move forwards towards EU if there's no normalization of relations. So the normalization is the key to move forward in the process of integration.
Yes, it is. It is key. It would be also formalized for both Kosovo and Serbia in the negotiation framework. Of course, Kosovo is still not there, but for Serbia there is now a new proposal which is being discussed in the Council to actually formalize the agreement from Brussels agreement from 27 February last year and Ohrid Annex as a part of Serbia's accession negotiation, Chapter 35. So this would be a formal obligation for Serbia to comply with the whole of agreement to progress on the road to European Union. That's very clear. This would be done also for Kosovo. Again, Kosovo is not yet in the negotiation format, but there is this special group for Kosovo, and this will be formalized for Kosovo as well. So it is yet another form how to formalize and make more legally binding this agreement from February last year. And again, there is a long list of statements, agreements, council conclusions, which are saying that the progress of Kosovo and Serbia on the road to European Union depends on the progress of the dialogue and full normalization of relations.
And if there's no progress, if the situation is like this, for example, if we may call it a new status quo in the process of dialogue, how is this situation going to affect the security in the region? You mentioned implication of geopolitical implication from the case when or the moment when Russia invaded Ukraine.
Well, again, one issue which I should mention is that also in relation to the growth plan, there is one principle which says if the conditions are not met, the money would be shifted to other countries. So that's one implication. But the second is, of course, and again, it's hypothetical. I believe that both Kosovo and Serbia would take this opportunity and would kind of use this.
This is optimistic.
Well, based on the discussion also with Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Ministers and others, I do believe that Kosovo is seriously interested in the growth plan and really believes that it should take this as a really good opportunity to promote and fasten reform process and do things which are necessary. But again, I believe that all 6 Western Balkan countries should move. It will be, again, the whole growth plan is based on the logic of common regional market of 6 countries. It would not be healthy moving 3 or 4 or others. We used to have this difficult discussion in the past years about Open Balkan, not being inclusive, not being only selective for a few. I do not think it would be healthy. From economic perspective,
do you think Kosovo
political
made a mistake not being part of this mechanism, Open Balkan?
Well, I would believe that Kosovo should be interested in being parts of all possible kind of formats and forms of regional cooperation. So that's one issue. But also, I think Kosovo is in particular should be interested in making sure that there is a real regional market and it works. Because I think open economy, free flow of goods, services, labor is actually in the interest of Kosovo. And I think Kosovo should kind of be interested in smooth operation of this and the smooth operation of the whole regional market. I think it is in the economic interest of Kosovo. Again, from the security perspective, again, if there is a stalemate, it would certainly not be beneficial to the security. Again, I do not do not believe this will be the case long term. But again, it's important to really use this opportunity. They are huge, they are kind of beneficial for everybody, should be used. And the strategic choices should be made.
There are
not next year, because of elections and other things. They should be made now.
There are a lot of opportunities lost, Mr. Ambassador. I hope that this one shouldn't be the case. I asked ambassadors coming in the studio about the relations with the Prime Minister Kurdi. How are your relations with the Prime Minister of Kosovo?
Well, what I would say that is I appreciate his open approach because he has been always ready to meet, always ready to discuss. So I do believe it's important that we do have open relations. We talk very often. We talk on many issues. I must admit that we do not agree on everything, but...
Let me ask it like this. Agree on everything or agree on some little, not in many moments or ideas? Do you have a lot of differences or do do you have same opinions about a lot of things?
Well, my sense is that we agree on those kind of strategic issues.
Yeah.
I do believe he is a European, and he wants to see Kosovo as an EU member state. So I think strategically we are aligned. Where I would kind of argue we sometimes differ is on the methods and some of the timings of certain things. But generally speaking, I do believe this is a pro-European government, which is strongly European government. By the way, it is also a very strongly pro-European population, with my understanding 94% supporting EU accession. So in this sense, I do feel I do have a partner which is really interested, really kind of taking into account what we are discussing, but obviously making sovereign decisions on those. And again, I admit we sometimes do differ on tactics and methods and other issues, but generally speaking, this is a government which really wants to be and behave in a European way.
My last question, I guess. There are elections in EU 6 to 9 June. Do you think the political panorama will change after these elections in European Union?
Well, we will see on that. The elections are early June. Obviously, we would also see the election campaigning. Also here, we already started to discuss with the colleagues, EU ambassadors, how to organize elections also here in Kosovo. I am eager to go to the Czech embassy to vote. And obviously, again, difficult to predict, but my sense is that there will be probably some shifts, but I think that
there will be some shifts.
Yeah, maybe yes, probably. But again, my sense is that those major groups who are there would still be the major groups. So I would not expect kind of completely different. Again, shifts here and shifts there, but I would not expect the major kind of changes. What I would say is that obviously, because it's election time, the EU would probably focus more on itself, starting maybe already in May, because of campaigning and other things, and then going to elections, then going to the summer break, but also immediately after summer break, the establishment of the new European Parliament, and then obviously a new discussion on the composition of the European Commission, composition or who is going to be the President of Commission, President of Council, President of European Parliament, the High Representative. So we would need, I would expect to actually focus less on external issues and focus more on those internal issues, and this probably might last until, let's say, October, November, until there is an agreement about the composition of the new institutions, which should take over again sometimes before the end of the year. And again, this also argues, from my perspective, that time to act for Kosovo, for Western Balkans, is now.
This is the last. Focusing on the internal issues of the EU, will this have any negative effect in the region and Balkans?
Well, I assume not. Mm-hmm. But again, nominally and formally, again, we would need to kind of look and on those institutional issues more, and this would kind of take off certain focus on external relations in general, not only on the Western Balkans. But I assume that this is still, we are talking about 2, 3, 4 months of certain kind of focus on internal issues, and then, you know, and there I believe the EU has still the power of kind of influencing the situation positively, regardless of those internal kind of issues.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you for your time and thank you for being here.
Thank you for you.
Shikues të nderuar, ishim realizuar një intervistë me ambasadorin e Bashkimit Evropian në Kosovë, zotin Tomash Sunjov. Me kaq po e përmbyllim edhe për sot, por edhe për këtë javë këndin e debatit rishimit tonë.